Hello and welcome to autumn. So the seasons have most definitely changed. If you're watching the video, you can probably see some of the changes in this oak tree behind me, and there'll be plenty more as we go for a wander here in the woods. So lately I've been doing a lot of talking about the business side of it and about the future of stuff in the UK. I thought we'd change pace a little bit and talk about being outside for a whole year, because around June of last year I handed in my notice at Go Outdoors, where I was working part-time. Like a lot of outdoor instructors, I've been in the space, forest school and bushcraft space, teaching for a long time. I always found winter work, things to tide me over when things get a little slow, wet, cold and muddy. And so I was picking up shifts at Go Outdoors because kind of teaching outdoor kit, and who doesn't like a staff discount? But anyway, I said, okay, June. I didn't actually technically hand in my notice. I just said I'm taking a leave of absence and I'm going to go work the summer, because there was plenty of work coming in. I mean, it's June. I had to turn down so much last year just because I didn't have the time. So fantastic time of year. And when I left, then I handed in my formal notice September, because they said, well, we can't keep you on the payroll any longer. I went, well, okay. And the idea was that I'd try and make it through a whole year without that added income and kind of work halfway through the winter. Now, I did pick up some work with my family, building fences in the homestead, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But in general, the idea was see whether I could finally make that leap and be outside all year round. And it's been a journey. So September through to Christmas is always still, you've got the colder weather coming in, but you've kind of got the light at the end of the tunnel, kind of that Christmas break, and there's a whole lot of excitement around Halloween, and so there's things that keep you going through winter months, and just celebrating the changes of the seasons. And then once I got through that, then like the frost hit and it was cold. It's January and February. I trimmed back my schedules and I decided this is the time to go help my family, and luckily they were able to offer me a little bit of work putting in fences in frosty ground. So I'd be out for 6 hours a day, up to my ankles in mud or sleet or whatever, hammering in fence posts, which was grueling work, but it was very satisfying. And so I can still remember those days, getting toggled up in all of my gear, popping my woolly hat on and going out to work, and then coming back in from the fields, sans a jacket or two, and feeling warm, and kind of that, when you've been working hard outside but you still feel cool, and then you come back in and you suddenly feel your body temperature just flush, that feeling, and then kind of having a hot bath to ease your aching muscles, that felt really satisfying. And it was what kept me going through January and February. And then March, I kind of brought in a lot of my forest school sessions. I was pleasantly surprised because it was a mild year. We had lots and lots of interest at the start of the year. And so we put extra wood on the fire. We got the hand warmers out. We packed lots of woolen blankets. And I was determined to make it through. We still had some sessions where we ended a little bit early because everyone was getting cold. But in general, worked it through. And it was cold. It's cold. And then I think we had all sorts of, kind of beginning of this year, we had a bit of wild weather coming in around March time, and it was a lot of rain, a lot of wind, a lot of mud. But then when April hit and you saw the first saw the first buds on the trees, things started getting leaf, the forest school sites were transforming. That felt, and the warmer weather hit. Once I could actually take a jacket off, put this hat back on, my broad-brimmed hat, and be comfortable outside without 101 layers, it really felt like I'd earned it. And I was able to be in tune with every single bud coming in. We've got a predominantly beech tree site here, so there's a lot of beech trees, and they usually come into leaf later in the year, so it took a little bit while longer. And then from one week to the next, it was suddenly like we had leaf. It was green everywhere. And then we went into summer, and we had some cooler days, we had some hotter days, we had some days with shorts and t-shirts, and we had our barefoot trail out with water and everything. And summer's always good. Summer's always good. It was relaxing and invigorating being outside. So previous years I spent a lot of time indoors. I hadn't really made the most of the summer. I was still working. I'd go outdoors, the kind of April, May period, and then when the sun hits outside and you're like, I wish I was outdoors. This year I actually was there. I was enjoying the sun. And then even on days where I was working from home, I could still go out into the hammock in the garden and make the most of those rays and get all that vitamin D in, and it was beautiful. And now we're kind of coming full circle, and I feel the changing of the seasons here. It's like every little drop in temperature, every little shift in colour of the leaves. I don't know how to describe it. I mean, in tune is something a lot of people talk about, being in tune with the seasons. And I felt like I was in tune with the seasons when I used to cycle everywhere, because you were out in every weather. You knew, well, it wasn't as rainy as people thought. You didn't get rained on nearly as much. But this time, I really feel it. I feel a shift. I feel a shift inside me. I feel that kind of urge to hibernate and nest and kind of put myself away for the winter. And I feel myself enjoying the little things, like, as I said, that flush of warmth coming back in from the cold, the chill on your cheeks first thing in the morning. I mean, there's still mud, glorious mud, and a whole lot of wet weather ahead, but it kind of feels like I've had my summer. I feel like I'm ready. I don't want to move. I mean, I still want to move to Greece or Spain or somewhere where I can have nice weather all year round. But you know what? Actually, this isn't bad. It feels like something is ending, something is shifting, and I feel at peace with it. And it's been a glorious year. I feel like I've made so much progress, made a difference in people's lives. I'm just generally happy to be outside. I mean, I might feel different after another 2-3 months of cold and wet, but right now I feel like making the most of it and plugging on towards Christmas. So I'd love to hear about how your year has been. Have you managed to spend the entire year outside? Do you feel a deep appreciation for the seasons? Do let me know your thoughts. I'm active on all the social media things. And before I wrap up, as a reminder for everyone watching on YouTube, this goes out as a podcast as well. So if you're struggling to find time to watch my Wednesday videos, then search for the Bracken Outdoors podcast on your podcast players. And I'm on Spotify, Player FM, formerly on Google Podcasts, which has now died a horrible death, and so on. So do search for it on there. I love listening to podcasts on drives in. I have a long drive to get to here in the Worley Woods, and I was listening to the Forest School podcast. Shout out, they are fantastic little podcast and really talking about some transformational stuff. So do check that out if you are short of time or want something to listen to when you're washing all of those Forest School dishes. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Remember to always make the most of every day, because we don't get many. And I'll see you all next time.